Hi, my name is Jeff Daly. I'm the second vice commander here at Hollywood Post 43. I am sitting here in this very fancy chair, not because I'm fancy, but because I am sitting in our building, which itself is a World War I memorial. It was started by veterans who came back to Los Angeles, begged the city to build a World War I memorial. They said no. These gentlemen said, we'll do it ourselves. And that is what I am sitting in today. And I wish I was welcoming you in person, but I will welcome you virtually. Happy Veterans Day to all of you who are veterans, and happy Veterans Day to all of you who love a veteran, work for veterans, or in any way make life better for those who are willing to give their life. Now, it's always interesting to me that Veterans Day started out as what was called Armistice Day, which is the end of World War I. It was the signing between the Allies and the defeated Germans. And the holiday was started to celebrate peace, actually, and to honor those who perished in that war to end all wars, which we now know was not true. Later on, it was changed to Veterans Day because they wanted to honor anyone who had ever served, anyone who had ever put their name on the dotted line and put their life on the literal line to be a service member in the armed forces. And so that is the celebration that we have today. In 2020, there are challenges, but with innovative solutions like the Los Angeles Veterans Collaborative doing this sort of thing virtually, it allows us to keep on with the mission. You know that old military mantra, improvise, adapt, overcome? Well, that is what is on display here, and I'm so proud to be a part of it, and I'm so happy that all of us can get together like this and make things happen. Today here at Post 43, we have a busy schedule. You can see a lot of it online on our Facebook page. And I stepped away just to come here and to thank all of you for what you're doing and to welcome you to this great program. Thank you, Giselle, for asking me to do this. It's very important. And I really hope to see a lot of you in person again sometime in the very near future so that I can get back to reading the salute report live and in front of all of your faces, because I miss every last one of your faces except one, and you'll figure out who you are. So that is what we're doing today, and I'm so excited. I hope that the recording will be there so I can hear all of the panelists and the guest speakers later. And I have to now get ready to go do our induction ceremony and our food drive and continue on with the mission of serving community, state, and nation. And let me see what we're doing. Because I told Giselle, I could literally go on for 90 minutes with opening remarks because there was just so much to say. We just did, with the Tango Alpha Lima podcast run by the National American Legion, I'm one of the co-hosts, and we just did an entire episode on Veterans Day that is up right now. So if you get bored later and you want to hear this voice again, along with two others, you can search for Tango Alpha Lima. You can hear more about that armistice history and how it became to be Veterans Day. You can hear about why we save money on mattresses today, or actually ask the question, why do we save money on mattresses today? I've never understood the correlation between sale, and Veterans Day, but it's okay. If you want to do that and be comfortable and save money today, that's all right with me. So that's my story today, and I'm going to hand it back over to, I believe it's Giselle, or is it James?
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate you stopping in and giving the open remarks. Appreciate all the work that you're doing out there in Post 43 and making sure that veterans are represented through the American Legion. Happy Veterans Day to you.
Thank you for all of this. I appreciate it, and I will spread the word as soon as the recordings are up so that we can get more people to pay attention.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Veterans Day. This is a day that's normally observed by county and other government officials. I can't think of a better way to observe this holiday than be here with you all, the most aggressive advocates for veterans and family members in Los Angeles. It's an honor. We got a really good presentation from Unite Us. But first, just Veterans Day. I've been thinking a lot over the last couple of days what the purpose of Veterans Day is and what it's been for a few hundred years, or at least a good 100 years, and really to honor veterans. And I think about different ways that I've seen veterans that I've worked with and interacted with in Los Angeles over the last decade, and how we kind of just, as a group, how being honored, is the best way to honor us, I guess is the way to say it. And really, just early in my career, having a opportunity to get brought on to be the solution to help other veterans, that job was probably one of the best ways I've ever felt honored as a veteran. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about Veteran Peer Access Network. And it's not a pat on the back by any means, because we have a heck of a lot of work to do here in Los Angeles on behalf of veterans and family members. This group knows better than anybody. We've been attacking veteran homelessness for over 10 years here in LA. Recently we heard from the chief of suicide prevention from the local VA talk about veterans dying by suicide at a rate of 2 to 4 times more than our non-veteran counterparts in the county. There's a lot of work to do. And so by no means is this a pat in the back, but I gotta say on Veterans Day, it means a lot to work for a county that puts their money where their mouth is and recognizes veterans as civic assets, as individuals who have a lot of skills and a lot of abilities to bring to ending veteran homelessness, to ending suicide. And so talking about the Veteran Peer Access Network and the commitment by this county and by the directors at both the Department of Mental Health and Military Veteran Affairs to bring on 40 veteran peers in addition to the 15 that we have in the Department of Mental Health, not including the 15 plus over at the Department of Military Veteran Affairs, to allow us to be the solution to our own problem. I'll never forget a day when we welcomed a new medical director by the name of Ann Brown over 4 years ago to Los Angeles. We brought her out to a homeless shelter that VOA was running in Hollywood, and just had her hear from the veterans. And I'll never forget it. It was loud and clear. The veterans in that program let the incoming director know that we want to be the solution to our own problem. In the military, we take care of our own. That's what we do. And here today, 2020, as we ramp up with our partners over at Southern California Grant Makers and ramp up with our partners over at Unite Us, and really galvanize the work that we've been doing for over a decade here in Los Angeles, and just ramp it up and make sure that veterans are on the forefront, and family members of veterans are on the forefront of being the solution to the problems that plague our fellow family members and veterans in LA County. With that, just doing work over the last several years with other veterans as far as filling the gaps and outreach and engaging. A big piece, and something that I really started to dislike, a term specifically, was warm handoff. I think we've played that term out, and that is one of the major issues of why we have so much homelessness, despite all the good work that's been going on over 10 years, and why our suicide rates are so high, because there's really no mechanism to ensure that these connections, that when we refer people to all the agencies in Los Angeles County, that they're actually getting what they need. And so, bringing on 40 additional veteran peers and military family member peers is one element. The other element is really creating a technology solution, or bringing in a technology solution to make sure that, as we refer, we're able to efficiently check the system and make sure that they actually got the service that they said. They weren't rejected because they weren't eligible. They weren't, it was different than what they thought they were going to get when they get to the agency. But really bringing in a technology solution that makes it easy as we're engaging all the veterans and military family members in Los Angeles County. We got a very easy way to kind of go in and see where it's at. And with that, I'd like to welcome Kelly from our partners over at Southern California Grant Makers to give us updates and talk about where we're at with the VPAN.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jim. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. And let's see. Can everyone see that, the slides?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Jim. So today I'm Kelly Armaly, and I'm a consultant hired on by Southern California grant makers to help implement the VPAN. And I was here in August presenting to the group regarding our RFP rollout. And since then, last month, you guys heard from Christina Garcia, who has been hired on as SCG's program manager for the VPAN. And she apologizes for not being here today, but she's on her honeymoon. So we have a lot of excitement and well wishes for her. And then of course, Nate Grazer is the Director of Veteran Initiatives at Southern California Grant Makers. So the three of us, along with Jim, we've been racing really fast over the last few months to get the VPAN, get pieces in place to get this VPAN up and going as quickly as possible. And so I wanted to share with you some updates and where we are today. So joining our team includes our community-based organizations that we identified through our RFP process, and our expert panelists reviewed the proposals and made recommendations, and this is how we landed. I believe Christina went over this last time, but we also, I believe SC3 was still not solidified at that point. And so for everyone's review, JVS, so Southern California, has been selected for districts 1 and 5. VOA LA has been selected for district 2. Goodwill was selected for district 3, and US Vets for district 4. And we have already started meeting with them, and we are hitting the ground running. So for the CBOs, to give you an idea of what their priority activities have been, the #1 priority is hiring. As Jim was saying, we are trying to hire 40 positions amongst the CBOs. So there's 5 teams of 8. We're looking for a program manager, and that has to be a mental health professional who is license eligible. The idea is that they're licensed by 2023. 2 peer squad leaders, and then 5 peers. And if you happen to have any referrals, please send them to the VPAN email address, and we'll route to the appropriate CBO within the district that would be a best fit for them. Another priority for our CBOs currently is identifying the rally point for their district, as well as community access points, in anticipation of when we're able to be out in the field more and with people. And then finally, the next initiative that we're undertaking, and this is where Unite Us comes into play, is the identification of partner VSOs and other CBOs that support the VPAN in each of their districts. Other things that we've already solidified is the peer certification training. So as soon as the staff are hired, we have training dates already in place and teed up. DBSA will be providing the peer certification training, and then we have UCLA providing some additional training as well. And then finally, that kind of leads us up to the technology implementation. That's the next big step for us to implement. We've already started discovery and implementation meetings. They started in September, and this month, going into December, we're going to be onboarding VSOs to create a vast and rich network for the VPAN with the target go live date in mid-January. Now, just as a reminder, I wanted to share this slide that I shared back in August of how the VPAN is structured and that backbone concept of the structure. And if you look at the yellow area, that's the technology platform. And we're looking to Unite Us to really be that, that backbone and system that gives us feedback on a continuous basis. about how our network is performing. So it's extremely important to the success of the VPN. Now, Unite Us and what we'll learn through the presentation today, from a macro level, they've already started a Unite California initiative. And that includes all different types of community partners, including healthcare providers and government agencies across California. So there's already a bigger movement going on right now. And from a micro level, that's where the VPN comes in. And we'll be a part of that Unite Us California initiatives. Some of the providers may already be a part of the larger Unite Us initiative, so that'll be fantastic. And VPN will utilize the Unite Us platform to manage referrals and also to report on the efficiency and effectiveness of the VPN network. And Jim mentioned this as well. And so what we need from you, from the collaborative, we need your help to identify and to encourage the enrollment to the Unite Us network. It's free to community providers. And the VPN, you have to know that the VPN can only be as successful as the network that we can build. So it's not going to do us much good if we don't have providers that we can refer to. And the idea, again, behind this technology is that it'll follow a referral from the point of contact to the referring service. And then also we're hoping to get the end results and how well we did for that veteran client. And we can track the timing as well as the outcome. So it's really exciting and very important to what we're building here. And so with that said, I'd like to introduce the Unite Us team to talk a little bit more about their product. Karla Torres, she's the Community Engagement Manager. And then I'm not sure if Annika plans to chat with us as well, but I think Karla for sure will be leading the discussion here. So take it away, Karla. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelly. And I have Annika here. We'll be managing our slides. I'm going to have her share the screen here. So hang tight 1 second.
How's it look, Karla?
Looks good. I see it.
Perfect. All right, I'll go ahead and introduce myself and hand it over to Karla, who is the main event today. Hi, everyone. My name is Annika Gage. I'm an account manager with Unite Us based out of Los Angeles, here with all of you. And primarily my role is to be supporting the VPN and their onboarding and the ultimate success of their use of the platform to really support the veterans and the military family members that they serve. So it's really an honor to be here with you all today, and we're grateful to all of you that did serve. You know, it's an honor to be working together with you to support veterans in Los Angeles.
Thank you so much, Annika. And a little bit about my background. I spent many years working in local government and mental health organizations. Most recently, I was actually running community engagement for Microsoft here in LA. And as part of that role, I had the privilege of running a variety of technology programs. And one of those programs actually worked in partnership with our Microsoft Military Affairs team, where we supported military dependents with technology day camps and military veterans and their spouses with employment skilling. So like Annika mentioned, it's such a privilege to be here with all of you today, especially on Veterans Day. And really the goal of today's meeting is to bring together key veteran service organizations in the LA area like yourselves and discuss how Southern California grantmakers, LA Department of Mental Health, and our VPAN network and Unite Us can support the efforts to connect all military members, whether they're active duty, veterans, or their families, to the community resources that they need through this coordinated care network. All right, wonderful. So what is the Unite California network? So Kelly mentioned it briefly just a few minutes ago. So just as a reminder, Unite California is a statewide coordinated care network that connects health and social care organizations. Within Unite California, we've launched county networks throughout the state, including our LA Coordinated Community Network. But what do we mean when we talk about this word network, right? So we see networks as community of partners committed to working together and collaborating across sectors to create healthier communities. It's made up of partners like all of you here today who are really the experts in what you're doing and how to best serve our local veterans, our active service members, and families. It is our goal at Unite Us to provide the technology platform to augment these great efforts and to help connect individuals to the resources they need in a more efficient manner. So we'll be digging a little deeper here in future slides, but we hope that by the end of today's presentation, you're able to see how joining this coordinated care network and using Unite Us will help you collaborate with other organizations to meet your clients' needs, how it can help you connect veterans and their families to the right service more quickly and efficiently, and how you can use this referral data to demonstrate impact, increase visibility and gaps of services, and also improve access to services all around. So before we dig deeper into the technology aspect, I really want to ground our work. And I think it's very important to share more about our connection to this work. So Unite Us was created to address the very challenges that we are here to discuss today on Veterans Day. This question of how we can better support our veterans and their families as they return to civilian life. Our co-founders, Dan and Taylor, are actually both veterans themselves. As they transitioned out of the military, they were stunned by the difficulties that they and their friends faced in seeking supportive services. It was a fragmented process, which I'm sure we're all very familiar with, that ultimately resulted in many falling through the cracks. So together, Dan and Taylor decided that this was unacceptable, and they set out to address it through a solution that would better coordinate and track care for veterans and their families. They founded Unite Us, and over time, this work really began to evolve and expand to community-wide networks so that all vulnerable populations could be served. Unite Us is now the chosen technology platform used to power coordinated care networks in over 40 states across the country and has already served tens of thousands of individuals. Here on the right-hand side, you see a list of many organizations we're currently working with nationwide, but I want us to focus on the very top line there, those 4 logos that we have. Here in LA, we are fortunate to have the support of Southern California grant makers and LA Department of Mental Health, who are funding this network and are excited to bring this platform to our veteran community here in LA. And we also have Blue Shield and Kaiser, who are also funding the network here in LA and statewide, and who, like SoCal grant makers and LA Department of Mental Health, believe in the importance of connecting health and social care. So now here, we're going to take a look at what sending a referral would look like within the Unite Us coordinated network. So in this example, we've used VPAN and the Salvation Army as our sending and receiving organizations. But as we go through this, just imagine your organization sending and receiving referrals, just like these 2 examples. So let's begin talking about this workflow here. So here on the very left-hand side, we have a military veteran, Frank, who has contacted VPAN to receive services. So during that interaction, we have Frank, who meets Sue, who's that second bubble here. And Sue is our VPAN care manager. During her conversation with Frank, Sue identifies that Frank is also in need of resources for secure housing. VPAN is part of this coordinated care network, and so Sue logs into Unite Us and prepares to send out the housing referral to another network provider. Before sending out that referral, Sue makes sure to capture Frank's consent. So we see that in that little blue lock there. So Sue makes sure to capture Frank's consent, and we'll talk about this in the next few slides as well. And once he gives his consent, the referral is sent over to Krista, who's our intake specialist at the Salvation Army. Krista is then able to review the referral. She's the one that's contacting Jack to initiate that initial meeting there and support him with the housing needs that he's looking for. Krista is also able to continue this referral process. So if she hears that Frank is in need of additional services, like let's say clothing or employment or any legal services, she can continue this process by logging into Unite Us and making referrals and continuing that referral journey. So throughout all of this, Sue from VPAN, so she was our original referring organization, she's actually able to track Frank's entire journey and ensure that he was connected to the services that he needed. Alrighty, so we're going to go into why participate, and after this I'll take a quick pause and we'll answer any questions that might have come up. So why participate? So on the left-hand side here, I'll be going through the way referrals have traditionally been sent, and this is the way that referrals that I've been used to sending referrals when I was in direct care. And on the right, we'll be talking about some of the differences with referrals made through Unite Us. So the first thing I want to address here is that historically, service providers haven't always been able to share information securely. Through Unite Us, you can rest assured that all information that you send and receive will be safe and secure. And because this is of utmost importance, we've actually dedicated an entire slide to privacy and security, and I'll be sharing more details here in the next slide. In our traditional referral workflow, it can be difficult to pre-screen clients for services. So I remember when I was connecting families to resources, it took a lot of research, a lot of follow-up phone calls and emails to ensure that they were indeed eligible for an organization's services. So through Unite Us, you can ensure that clients are matched only to organizations that can serve them. Every time you go to make a referral, you will actually be able to see not only that organization's name and contact information, but you'll also be able to check for any eligibility requirements like age, location, service branch, and even be able to see if the receiving organization is able to accept referrals at any given time. The third point here that I want to share is one that sometimes was frustrating for me to understand when I was providing direct care. So it's this idea that our client alone should be responsible for accessing the services that they need. So with referrals through Unite Us, we are working to really change this narrative and give the onus back to the service provider. So through a Unite Us referral, it is actually up to the service provider to ensure that their client receives the resources they're looking for. So it's our service providers actually responsible for reaching out to our veterans or our families to gather more information and schedule that initial meeting. The fourth point here that I want to share is one of my favorite parts about the Unite Us platform and the way that we do referrals. And one of the reasons why I wish that we had a platform like this when I was working in the mental health organization years ago. So it's this ability to be able to track that entire client journey. And I kind of mentioned that with Sue and Frank, and how Sue was able to track Frank's entire journey in the slide prior. So through Unite Us, you can now track that entire journey from start to finish with this online platform. So, and furthermore, because you're making these referrals electronically from a trauma-informed care, your client doesn't have to tell and retell the story over and over again. It's all written in the referral for organizations to see and keep throughout that entire journey. And lastly, here we get to data. So currently we have organizations using different technology platforms, but there is no one mechanism in place to really collect that data and to see what is working and where there are opportunities to improve service delivery. So with Unite Us, you're actually able to track transactional data that is collected and interpreted so that networks can make more informed decisions collectively on how they can improve services that are provided within the network and for their community members. So organizations, not Unite Us, own this data. And these organizations have the ability to use that to track performance of their organization, to track the outcomes, any gaps in services, and also use it for grant funding purposes or any other type of funding purpose as well.
Carla, we've got 3 questions in the chat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead
We're
and
going to
look
take a
through it.
pause here. This is a perfect way to, or a perfect segment to take a pause. I know that was a lot of information.
I am attempting to look at the Q&A and not able to pull it up. Are you, Carla?
Here.
Panelist?
I don't see any questions. I see a lot of wonderful Happy Veterans Day comments, but I don't see any questions.
So Eva, are you able to access the Q&A? I want to make sure we get
Oh,
these.
that Q&A there. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I was in the chat. So we have a question here. Will veterans be able to request resources yet not seek referral or contact? Will veterans be able to request services?
Yeah. That's a great question. So yes, if they're, in the office or remote by phone with you all and they just want to explore a resource, they don't know necessarily if they want a referral there quite yet. There actually is functionality within the software platform to just share the resource, the information and the description directly with that individual so they can review it themselves. And then they can decide whether or not they want to follow through with the referral through the platform. I'm not sure, Jim, if you'd have anything to add for that, just from the perspective of operationalizing all of this, but that's what's possible within the technology and the platform itself. I think you're muted, Jim.
Yeah, nothing to add on this piece, but something to add on a later question I see down below.
All right, we'll keep moving then. Go ahead, Carla.
And then we have a comment here. Some veterans aren't seeking case management.
That I mean, really, we kind of see Unite Us, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carla and Anika, as just a referral. So some veterans just need some veterans just need education on what's available, and then they just take it and run with it. Some veterans that we've been helping so far on the Veteran Peer Access Network need just a simple referral to an agency, and that's all they need. They don't need us to kind of continue to check in with them, stuff like that. So definitely understood on the not all veterans want or need case management. This is a way to kind of track referrals. So say I'm working with a veteran, I refer them to agency A, and I'm just, I go on the rest of my day, I'm contacting other veterans. And then later on in the week, I'd go in the system and I'd be able to see, like, was that referral actually received by the incoming agency? So it's just a way of accountability. Instead of me having to call the agency and, hey, did you receive veteran A, B, and C? I can just go in the system very quickly and efficiently and see, was that veteran given that resource and accepted by the agency? That's my understanding, but that's good feedback on the case management piece.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jim. We have another question here from Luis. This all seems basic common sense. However, what appears to be most problematic in all you have shared? So are you asking, I'm assuming maybe asking here for some of the challenges? I'm going to see if Luis can clarify. Annika, let me know if you want to take a stab at it.
Sure, I think we can wait for the clarification, and then are there any other questions we can answer in the meantime?
Yeah, so we have another question here. So this requires a case manager for veterans to access the resources and information. So I believe Jim answered that earlier. So again, it doesn't necessarily require a case manager. We have to often have intake specialists that are providing a resource that a community member or veteran is looking for. So it does not necessarily require a case manager for veterans to access. Jim, let me know if you want to provide more context there.
Yeah, I think a way to look at it is it's a tool for case managers. Mm-hmm. How they've used it in a similar platform in Houston is mental health providers in the VA are working with somebody on their mental health. And what comes up in the session is that they also need some kind of social intervention. And so like a team red, white, and blue, or an organization where they can connect with other veterans out in the community. And so those mental health providers had the ability to use the system to refer that veteran that they see weekly for mental health to get some of those other resources. And then as they're taking notes, they can just simply go in the system and see, did that veteran receive that resource? So it's just an efficient way to where the case manager in that scenario would be able to use the platform, make a referral, and then very quickly be able to go in the system and see and confirm whether or not their veteran got connected to that entity and that resource.
Thank you so much. And I got an answer here clarifying Luis's question. So Luis said, yes, what is most important to address? There must be some input from others referring clients to see a need to deliver this presentation. So, yeah, Anika, go ahead.
So I think overarching, and Jim and Kelly have touched on this, particularly in Los Angeles, but I would not say this is necessarily a unique problem to the veteran community in Los Angeles, is that there have been some challenges identified in getting veterans connected to the right services. And we've gone over a little bit about what those challenges might be. Depending on your organization, these may or may not resonate with you as challenges. They're just throughout our research, throughout our experience with networks across the country. These are some of the main reasons that someone would choose to adopt and utilize a coordinated care network platform in order to make referrals, right? So having visibility into whether or not your efforts to connect individuals to resources actually came to fruition, and whether or not that was ultimately something that was resolved for the clients that you're working with. It also leads to enhanced collaboration between different providers, because now you have visibility into the fact that you do share a client, right, in the platform, and you can collaborate on their shared care, make sure that there are, you together are addressing any gaps in resources that they need, and ultimately longitudinally, long-term tracking the health and well-being of that client or individual. So those are some of the reasons that this type of platform may or may not be useful to you. From our conversations with Jim and Kelly, this is something that will really be supportive of the veteran serving community across Los Angeles. It will also give you that data, that shared data, to be able to look at a higher level where there are folks that are meeting the needs of veterans across the community, where there might be gaps and we need to support with additional funding or resources, staffing, et cetera. And so this will just make those things more visible and easy to address as a group and as a team. So I'm not sure if that addressed the question, but just going into a little bit more of why implement a coordinated care network and why now in Los Angeles for veterans specifically.
Thank you, Anika. And I'm going to answer 2 more questions and then we'll get to the rest of them towards the end here. So we have a question from Tess who asked, how will peers interface with this platform in the field? Is there functionality for field support? Also, will associated providers be required to show a certain level of service to continue to be included? So that's a wonderful question, Tess. So I'm going to tackle the first part here. So peers will be able to interface with this platform. It's completely web-based. So as long as they have access to a device and Wi-Fi or a 5G network, they'll be able to access that. And additionally, and we'll talk about this when we go into privacy and security, one of the ways that we would be able to get consent with folks working out in the field would be through a verbal consent, or we can also get consent via an actual physical document that organizations print out and have their clients or community members sign. So again, we'll go into that in just a sec here. And then will associated providers be required to show a certain level of service to continue to be included? So I'm assuming that you're talking about network standards here. So I'm going to answer it from that perspective. So all of our providers, when they log on or when they sign up to be a network partner, we have a set of network standards, and we want to make sure that we're all in agreement as a coordinated care network to follow those network standards. So things like, we hope that network providers are able to respond to incoming referrals within 48 hours and things of that sort. We haven't had an issue with providers not being able to participate or not being able to be included. And from just a service type, we include all of those organizations within a community that are collaborating with others to create healthier people and healthier communities within the local geography. So we don't necessarily exclude organizations. We're looking for all types of service types. Alrighty, so we're going to go through, and I'll take a pause here with questions. I love that they're all coming in, so please continue and we'll get to them towards the end. All right, wonderful. Let me actually exit out of this Q&A here. One sec. There we go. Okay, so privacy and security. So I promised we would talk about privacy and security. So here we are. And I just want to dig a little bit deeper into this topic because it's so incredibly important. So Unite Us is HIPAA, FERPA, FIPS, and 42 CFR Part 2 compliance. I'll try saying that 10 times really fast, which is essentially a lot of acronyms to say that we hold the privacy of our clients to the highest standard possible. So we protect client privacy in a few key ways. First, as you can see here on the left-hand side, all individuals must consent to their information being shared with other providers through the platform. So we mentioned this a few slides ago when Frank had to give Sue consent before sending out his housing referral over to the Salvation Army. Second, each program in Unite Us is is tagged with a service type. So just like it sounds, these are the services that an organization provides. So you can see here in this example, we have transportation, mental health, and physical health. So referrals for most service types are visible to everyone who is working with a particular client in Unite Us. However, there are 4 service types that are classified as sensitive and have restricted viewing permissions. So those service types include mental health, substance abuse, physical health, and legal. And with these sensitive service types, only those involved in that service episode, in that case, will be able to access the details of that referral. All right, so this here is a quote from one of our partners. And the story is actually a recent one from one of our military networks in North Carolina called NC Serves. So Kathleen here, who submitted this quote, she works for one of the organizations that's part of NC Serves. And she recently had a mom come into her organization who was struggling with no health insurance and unaware of her VA benefits. So she felt overwhelmed with many different things in her life. And she was struggling to navigate the implications of COVID-19 with a new baby and 2 other children. She had a history of PTSD and anxiety and was struggling financially and just feeling hopeless. So Kathleen was able to make a referral through the Unite Us platform and ensure that this mom received the services she needed in the quickest, most efficient way. So Kathleen had this quote to say about the interaction with this mom. So she said, "I received a message from her today stating that she was contacted by, and I quote, an extremely sweet person that is trying to find a program for vets to help with her utility bill and also finding someone for her mental health. She is finding some hope in her situation just because someone reached out to her and is helping her find the resources she deserves, not only as a vet, but as a human. It also gives me hope that I have a resource that will help our families." So again, and that's Kathleen from our military network in North Carolina. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Nate and Jim, and I'm just going to give them a few minutes to have a discussion here on what this coordinated network can help, or how this coordinated network can help meet the needs of our local veterans. And we can maybe answer some of the questions that we have in the Q&A that are still lingering as well. So take it away, Jim.
Great, thanks, Carla. Yeah, I mean, really what we're seeing as some of the benefits of the program or what's in it for the community and community providers is really better access for more referrals. And so really more access to veterans, something that Nate said that he's heard over the many years of running the collaborative. And I've also heard is, we don't have enough access to veterans. We have all these great services. So really taking, using Unite Us that really is going to be connected to 55 peers, not including the MVA peers. So, I mean, a total of 60 peers that are actively outreach and engaging veterans and their families in the community. And, that Unite Us is the platform that they're going to be using. And so we're currently, we don't have any projected numbers as far as how many we plan to serve in calendar year 2021, but we're looking somewhere in the ballpark of 5,000 to 6,000 veterans and family members. So for those that need more referrals and need access to more veterans and family members, this is a great way to get connected to more veterans and family members. Also, the second bullet point says highlight services and programs. This has a lot of visibility. As you can imagine, the county's invested a lot of money in this, and there's a lot of visibility within counties specifically. We've had a lot of conversations with the VA as well, but there's a lot of eyes on the Veteran Peer Access Network, and as a result, Unite Us. So being in the system, being listed, it's really good for visibility. Also, the reporting functions of the Unite Us platform. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of you in the collaborative as far as like, how do I collect data? How do I show outcomes? How do I, get more funding? How do I make sure that the services that we're providing are relevant? This provides a means for all that. We've seen the reporting functions at Unite Us. You'll be able to get reports specific to the work that your organization is doing, demonstrate outcomes as far as providing quick access to folks that need your services, as well as the amount of veterans and family members you actually successfully served. There's other outcomes that are related, but really I would say that's a very big selling point of Unite Us and why it's important to get on Unite Us. And also part of this, one of the major reasons why we were so excited about our partnership with Southern California Grant Makers is they're infusing the philanthropic sector. So they have a veteran funders group who, are going to have a lot of visibility on the great work that's happening through the Unite Us platform. And so it'll just mean more access to ongoing funding. And then just being able to adapt to service trends. So as we kind of see needs, especially with what's happened with COVID, as we're tracking what referrals are coming in for the peers in the Veteran Peer Access Network, at first we saw this huge influx for housing just getting off the street. And then as the VA started adapting their SSVF program to be able to get folks into hotels, things like that, we saw a decrease in housing and we saw an increase in legal need. But being part of the Unite Us platform, you'll see what the need is. You'll be plugged in and you'll be part of that, the real time seeing what the data is and seeing what the trends are and kind of being able to adapt, especially while we're in the middle of this pandemic. So those are the major things that I would kind of highlight. And I'm sure there's probably more questions that are coming out of this conversation as a result. So I guess I could try to answer some of these questions. So how do we want to do this, Carla?
Yeah, Jim, if you want to take a stab at a couple of more here, I'm just going to do a quick time check. Maybe we can go through maybe 2 or 3 and we can follow up with folks whose questions we don't get to.
Yeah, so I see a question from Anthony Rodriguez. Will veterans be able to work with the VA and non-VA service providers at the same time? Absolutely. We can refer to the VA and community at the exact same time in the system. Let's see. Another question from Charles. How does veteran service providers become a network provider And does this include wellness efficacy training? I think that might be a better answered by you, Karla.
So we will be providing more information on how to become a network provider in the next slide here. So that will be a great transition, and we'll transition. Maybe we'll take one more question, Jim, and then we'll get into that answer.
Yep. What is being done to protect non-traditional military families unmarried from losing custody of their children due to stigma and stereotypes of military service? This platform isn't specific to I would say this particular issue, other than the fact that it'll be able to for those non-traditional military families that are in the process of losing custody, the hope is to create greater connectivity between getting referrals, so getting plugged into the system and getting the services that they need. But I think that question's a little bit larger than the answer I provided. But for this particular piece, I think that's the best way I can answer that question. Unless if you have anything to add, Karla.
And we will be also, I mean, we are going to have a wide network of different services within, and we currently do within the LA Coordinated Network. So, you know, resources on legal or anything else that might help address that particular concern will be, those are the types of organizations and the types of services that will be a part of this collaborative network. And I'm going to take a stab at one more question, and I'm actually going to try and answer 3 in 1. So I know one of the questions here is a duplicate, but will this platform be coupled with a resource search function for self-service? And then what is the user experience like? Do we have some screenshots? And this again segues perfectly into our next steps. Unfortunately, we didn't have time today. There's so much information to provide, and we didn't have time to share a software demo. But we will be having 2 additional information sessions on November 18th, so next week, and December 1st after the holidays. And what these information sessions will do is it will do just that. It will give you insight into that user experience, and you'll actually be able to see a demonstration of what the software looks like and what it would be like to send and receive a referral. So we will have more information on those, the registration for those sessions right after this. So I know Giselle's going to be sending out some follow-up details by Friday or Monday, and that will have the registration links for those information sessions there. And we'll talk more about that search function as well during that information session. So again, this is a perfect segue into next steps here. So the next steps, we know that this is just a high-level overview, so a 100-level overview of what this network can do and the impact that we can collectively make together. So we want to make sure that we answer any additional questions and that we also share that software demo in the upcoming weeks. So we have these 2, like I mentioned, these 2 information sessions scheduled for November 18th and December 1st. And the goal here is to answer your questions, give you a visualization of what this referral process will look like, and to be able to continue the discussion and to really share the value of what this could mean here in LA. And Jim will also be at that meeting as well to answer any other specific questions related to LADMH or the VPAN network. The second step here is we would like for organizations and network partners to submit their partner registration form by the next meeting, so by December 9th. And the reason that we have this deadline here is, like Kelly mentioned, we want to go live in mid-January. So we want to make sure that you have that form submitted and that we are able to schedule out training for any of your users, any of the staff that are going to be sending and receiving referrals. And so that's why we've set that deadline for December 9th. So we'll also be following up with more information on that. So Giselle will be sharing that link to that partner registration form. And one of the things I suggest is if you are ready to fill out that partner registration form and you know definitely that you want to be a part of this network, go ahead and submit it. You are more than happy to submit it before you even attend an information session. Or you can also take a look at that partner registration form and start kind of just really thinking through the questions and the type of programs and who the users from your organization would be that would be sending and receiving referrals. So my suggestion is to definitely take a look at that form. And again, that will be included in a follow-up email that Giselle sends over to you guys. And the last part here is to complete new user training in January 2021. So we will have training opportunities so that folks that you have identified as users of this platform, so that they will have an opportunity to actually get trained on the software and learn how to send and receive those referrals. So this is a more in-depth training. This is in addition to the information session. This is about a 1-hour training where folks will have an opportunity to continue asking questions. And we also have an e-learning course as well. So for those who aren't able to attend the live webinar, they can also do it in their own self-paced environment. So I am going to take a pause here and see if there's any questions specifically to next steps. And Luis, can I share the form with other nonprofits I know would like to join into VPAN? Absolutely. So once Giselle follows up, great question. Feel free to share the information session link or the partner registration form link. Again, like Kelly mentioned, and like we all know, this network is really only as powerful and impactful as the partner organizations that join it. So please, please do. All right, and before we say goodbye, I'm going to actually write down, and I'm going to put this in the chat, my email. If you have any additional questions, feel free to shoot me an email. And for those of you that might not be able to see the chat because this is recorded, that email is Karla with a K, so K-A-R-L-A, .Torres, so T-O-R-R-E-S, at unitus.com. So Karla.Torres at unitus.com. All righty, I think we ended right on time. This is wonderful.
Thank you so much for having us today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you all. So have a great Veterans Day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for attending our LAVC collaborative meeting today. Just a reminder, our work group links are listed on the meeting agenda. American Legion, Southern California Grant Makers, and Unitus, thank you so much for giving us some time and sharing all this helpful information. And once again, thank you for your unwavering commitment to the veteran community. Take care, everyone.